this morning, sunshine through the clouds, feeling the healing, laughter all around. Rise up and stand tall, joy in every stride. No more tears to fall, let your spirit guide. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Blessed Girl Summer Podcast. My name is Tisha, and this is a space where we learn to live, love, and cultivate a life full of peace and joy. And so this season, we are keeping it personal. I've been sharing some personal growth that I've done, hopefully giving you some tools and some nuggets to better your life and to encourage you in your journey and the things in which you've been challenged with in the areas where you're being stretched. So today I want to talk about being uncomfortable. And so we're in the holiday season. I'm recording this in the holiday season, even though you guys are listening to this in 2025. We started in a new year. But last year, I watched this movie on Netflix called Mary. And it was basically about the birth of, well, it wasn't really, I mean, it was about the birth of Jesus, but it was more about Mary's experience, like what her experience was. A lot of times we talk about the birth of Christ, him, being born in a manger, the three wise men coming. We do touch on Mary because she obviously was Jesus's mom, and she had him as a virgin. But the focus in most stories is on Christ, right? On the Savior. And so this was an interesting watch. I really, really enjoyed it, even though like a lot of it, some of it they had to like embellish or use creative liberties because there wasn't much information. And then of course there's the other parts of it and the key principles that they've taken from the Bible. But the reason why I'm bringing up this story is because it gave me such a different perspective on Mary and Joseph. It gave me like such a different perspective on what it was like to be a woman in that time who was pregnant and having to face the people, being young. She was young. She was like a teenager and dealing with that persecution. And I'm sure the shame that it brought with her, right? But also knowing that you've been called to this, accepting the call, but still having a struggle. And then what really was like eye-opening for me was like, this wasn't easy. Like none of it was easy. You initially find out you're pregnant. It's not a joyful moment for everyone. You're trying to keep it secret for the most part. People are wanting to stone you because from their perception, you have a step down on Joseph, right? You're not even married. So that was problematic right there. But on top of that, it's not even Joseph's. What? Scandalous. But in them days, scandalous was like equal to death, like especially for a woman. And so she had to deal with that. Then there's no baby shower. There's no celebration of this thing. There's no like wonderful 9 months where you're experiencing all these things. And so you're pretty much taking on a call that you feel you've been called to that is already starting out rocky. It's already starting out suspect, right? People are already judging you. So, fast forward, during this time, during her pregnancy, they have to flee. I think they have to flee Nazareth. I think I want to get the town right. They have to flee the town that they're living in. And then they have to go because King Herod has a census out to kill all baby boys. And so they're running from the government essentially, um, in order to be able to have this baby. And she's like 9 months pregnant at this point. Now, has anybody been 9 months pregnant listening to this podcast right now? I have been 9 months pregnant 5 times, 4 times. And don't nobody feel like going nowhere. Don't nobody feel like doing anything. You are exhausted. Your body is all not yours anymore. And you've been carrying this baby around for a very long time. And it hasn't been an easy pregnancy, right? It hasn't been something that you've just been, I'm sure it was not what she was dreaming of when she first conceived. And so on top of this, you have to travel. Now, they have cars, they have planes, they have automobiles. So they're traveling on like a horse or a donkey or a camel or something that is not comfortable. And so now here you are at 9 months walking, riding in this uncomfortable state, frightened, afraid about what is going to take place, unsure about the future, holding on to the promise, um, that the angel has told you that, you're going to give birth to a savior, hoping, trying to probably figure out how this infant that you have to feed, and you have to birth is going to save you. But then the other thing that was super interesting to me was just like the amount of tenacity and the character of Joseph, right? To be willing to take on this child, to be willing to stick by Mary, to be willing to obey and believe the angel, and to just be willing to deal with the ridicule that I'm sure still came their way. And just so like the whole thing was uncomfortable, yet it was setting the tone and the stage for salvation. It was setting the tone and the stage for the greatest act of love that God has done, right? Giving his only begotten son. But it was difficult and uncomfortable. And so it just shifted my mindset, because I think sometimes we all have purpose. We all have things that we're trying to accomplish, and we want to accomplish, or things that we believe that we're called to, and directions that we want to move in. And so as we're gearing up and we're doing those things, we experience challenges. We experience spaces where it's just not comfortable. It's unknown. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We don't know how things are going to turn out. Um, and, but we still have to move. We still have to move. And I mean, that thing just blessed me, because I know that disappointment can be a painful thing. I've experienced disappointment in many ways in my life. Businesses that I thought were going to work out and they didn't work out after years of investment, relationships that I thought were going to be forever, friendships, that didn't work out, investments that I've made that I thought were going to be wise investments, were going to give me ROI and all these different things that ain't give me ROI and gave me a negative. What is that called? It's not called the return on investment. It's called I don't know, debt. That's called debt. Gave me debt. But all these things, and disappointment can be painful. And I think another thing about disappointment being painful is that it not only is the actual disappointment of it not happening painful, but it also makes it difficult to hope again. It makes it difficult to believe again. It can shatter your motivation. It can shatter your um, desire to try again. It can leave you in a state of paralysis, where you're like, I don't want to move anywhere, because the ways in which I move and I think I'm supposed to be moving are not doing the things that I thought it was going to do. And that can be really painful. And so I'm speaking from experience, mind you. And so for me, after like back to back disappointments, I think it kind of put me in a place where I don't want to say paralyzed per se, because I still pretty much have been the type of person like when I really feel like, I'm supposed to be doing something, when there's like a deep knowing that I'm supposed to be moving in a certain direction, I will move in it. I might be a little turtle about it at this point. Before I used to be like a gazelle. But now I'm kind of more like a little turtle. Like I know I got to go in that direction because the knowing or the nudge or the instinct or the prompting of the Holy Spirit is not letting up, and so I know that this is a space I need to move in. But my movement has definitely been a lot slower, and it's been slower because there is that fear of, and I don't even really want to call it fear. I think it's more the not wanting to experience the pain of letdown, the pain of disappointment, right? I think I talked about this a little bit in one of my other podcasts about like how when you put in so much work and so much effort, so much investment, then you're afraid that the work is going to be for nothing, right? The work is going to be for nothing. It's going to be another thing that's going to be like, oh well, that didn't work. That didn't work. Girl, you just wasted 7 years. So no. Or child, you just wasted several months, or thousands of dollars, whatever it may be. And then it has you questioning. I think another piece of that too is it has you and also had me questioning, did I hear correctly? This knowing that I feel that I have, is it really a knowing? And so now I think the reason why I may move more like a turtle is because there's a lot of back and forth. Like there's a lot of like double checking. And I remember when I was younger, I used to always be one like when I thought I was supposed to be doing something, I needed several layers of confirmation. I needed my pastor to confirm it. I needed my mom to confirm it. I needed my friends to confirm it. I needed like confirmation from like all sides before I fully embrace like this is what I'm supposed to do. And a part of growth for me was getting out of that, was saying, like, you can make decisions on your own. You don't need confirmation from everyone else. And recognizing that when you do, the feedback that you get from people is really based on their own experiences, their own fears, their own things. And so sometimes you can get feedback from them that is not helpful or not in alignment with what you are supposed to do, and it can stunt you before you even get started. And so I had stopped doing that as much, right? But then I found myself just really only talking to people who I knew would agree, which, isn't necessarily a great thing either. You want to get wise counsel. You want to get wise counsel. And so back to what I was saying, put you in a place where you're like afraid to hope again. You're afraid to trust again. You're afraid to even build again, to put that work in again. And also, I think for me, I was scared to want it, like scared to want it, scared to desire it, and then not to get it. Like that is very, like even now as I'm saying that, that's just like that does something to me, to my heart, right? And so I don't like that because it just feels like um it just kills the drive, like it kills the tenacity that some projects require, right? And so you can get stuck, or I got stuck. Look, this is about me, y'all. This is about me. This is definitely about me, but I hope it's helping you. um, I found myself feeling safer by not believing or not hoping or not dreaming or not building. Like it just felt safer because then you're not going to get disappointed, right? But then you're also stuck. You're also stuck. And you also, are not growing. and maybe not even taking opportunities, or the opportunities. So for me, the opportunities that I did take were absolutely safe opportunities, right? And so thinking back to the movie, when I was reminded of how absolutely uncomfortable Mary had to be, how uncomfortable um, Joseph was, the trials, the struggles that they went through, to answer this call, to be the parents of Christ. I was just, I don't want to, is the word convicted? I don't want to use convicted, but I was just like, man, dang it, if they could do it, like that's all, they could do it. I mean, you ain't had no, no, what is it, epidural? You ain't had no epidural. You ain't had none of that stuff. That just that one piece alone. There was so many pieces, so many things that she didn't have that I have, right? That I have, even though it's a different situation. There's so many levels of so much more convenience, so much more um, resources, so much more that I have as I'm navigating through my spaces than she had. And even when we just take one little thing, like just that whole notion of having this child with no type of, like, no doctor, no hospital room, no epidural. And I did that child. I did that one with one child. And that was my last one. I was absolutely done. Um, After I had my son. And that epidural didn't work. Mm-mm. If my first one would have been like that, I wouldn't have had all these other ones. Okay. So I think when I think about that, it really resonated with me. Mary's story really resonated with me. And I'm grateful for that, because it was like a really good, it was an encouragement as well as a reminder that to keep going, right? Because Mary, even in that, Mary was able to see, like, Christ lived for 33 years. She was able to see his miracles and all of those things. But she also has not seen the fulfillment of the entire story. It was just super encouraging that, like, this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the journey. And where did we come up with the idea that everything is supposed to lay itself out, that things are supposed to just be perfect, and that we are supposed to um, enjoy this ride fully? Like, this is, I think, that's even a part of um, our entitlement that we have right now, or my entitlement, and the comfort that I'm able to live in, that I even have this notion that things are not supposed to be uncomfortable for me. Good things are not supposed to be uncomfortable for me. Things of purpose are not supposed to be uncomfortable. Change is not supposed to be uncomfortable. And who said, I mean, Jesus himself died on a cross. How uncomfortable was that? What am I thinking? what, what am I thinking? So that was a growth moment for me. That was a more recent one. I'm glad that I was able to take that into 2025, because it's about to get real uncomfortable. There are things that I have to do that just got to be done, right? To get to this licensure. They just got to be done, and they're uncomfortable, and they require sacrifice, and they require time, and they require money, and and it's not easy, and it requires work, and it requires thinking, and it requires just pulling myself and stretching myself in ways that I previously haven't had to be stretched. And guess what? It's a part of it. It's a part of it. And so, um, yeah, I'm always reminded about the uncomfortable thing, but I think that what happens is that sometimes we can get in our routine, and we can set ourselves up where we try not to have any challenges, and we don't answer the call. Mm, yeah, where we're like, nah, not doing that. That was a little bumpy, not doing that anymore. And I just want to encourage you that, like, uncomfortable does not equal a lack of purpose. Um, Uncomfortable does not equal don't do. Um, Most things are going to require us to shift and change, and that is going to be uncomfortable. It's not a part of our nature. But we have to remind ourselves that we are still learning and growing. And during that process, it's going to require us to do something different. And different is not the norm, different for us. And so, yeah, we can't allow ourselves to sit in spaces because they're comfortable, because we've been called to so much more. We got to get into those uncomfortable places so that the fullness of who we are supposed to be can actually breathe, like it can actually live, it can actually thrive. It's not being stagnant in that stuck place because we perceive it to be comfortable. I don't know, I used to speak to entrepreneurs all of the time, and I use the term entrepreneurs because they have businesses and they were at all levels of success. Making millions, some making hundreds of thousands, and some just starting. But the thing that was consistent was that they all at some point had to get uncomfortable. They all, multiple times, right? They all at some point had to embrace the uncomfortability in order to move in the season that they were called in, or go to the next level, or go to the next space. And so that same thing is true for us. We have to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable. Um, yeah, we have to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable. So, as I am still a work in progress and challenging myself um, to choose, to choose to believe, to choose to hope, to choose to press forward, even though disappointment may be what I am met with. I should probably expect it. There's going to be some level of disappointment at some point, um, because my plan is not always his plan. Talking to myself, it's not always his plan. Like, I might think that this thing is supposed to manifest a certain way, and that's not the way that it was called to manifest, right? And so then I get disappointed when my focus should have just been doing what it is that I'm called to do, and allowing that thing to be what it's called to be, and to do what it's called to do in my life. And so hope that this has been helpful to you all. If you know someone who could use some encouragement along the way, definitely share the podcast, y'all. Let them know. And then let me know. Let me know if you've been in a spot where you have been uncomfortable, and what did you decide to do? Did you decide to to revert back to spaces that you feel are more comfortable for you, or did you press through? Um, did you move forward and face that uncomfortable space, and maybe even some fears that are surrounding that space, or some doubts? And then what did it look like on the other side? A lot of times, last thing I'll say, a lot of times when we do press through, we discover how much more we are actually able to do. We would have never known that we had a certain level of endurance. We would have never known that we could, have made it through, or maybe there might be something that we learned, throughout this process, something that we didn't know before, right? So you never know what is on the other side of uncomfortable. And so I want to challenge y'all this year, 2025. Embrace the uncomfortable. I'm doing it. Embrace the uncomfortable. Okay, this is feeling really weird and not like how I wanted to feel, but you know what? I'm about to see. I'm about to see. I'm about to sit in this and see what comes of this, right? Let's challenge ourselves in that way. All right, y'all. Enough chatting. Talk to you later.
this morning, sunshine through the clouds. Feeling the healing, laughter all around. Rise up and stand tall, joy in every stride. No more tears to fall, let your spirit guide. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems.